Okay, into Clinch with Greg Nelson, where we tackle and grapple everything martial arts. Hey, couple shout outs to Zebra Mats at zebramats.com, World Thai Boxing Association at thaiboxing.com, right? Guru Dan Inasanto, inasanto.com, Combat Submission Wrestling, ericpaulson.com, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Pedro Sauer at pedrosauer.com. All right, today we're going to be talking about a little energy.
Yeah, the topic today is going to be bringing up your energy. I know a lot of people in the world are looking to increase their health and energy and vitality, and Greg has a bunch of secrets and life hacks that I think will help a lot of the listeners out there. But to start with, let's get a basic idea. When people talk about energy, I had heard a quote recently that I thought was really, really meaningful, and the quote was, "You don't have energy, you generate energy."
That's cool.
Which is really, really true. And you hear a lot of people say, well, I'm just so low on energy. And then what do? They take a 5-hour energy drink, or they're looking for some sort of external way to generate energy. And I feel like a lot of really high-level people are able to generate energy, in their mind, internally. So just a little bit of thoughts about, the concept of energy and how would you define energy and stuff like that. So what do you guys have to say?
Well, for me, I think kind of energy is everything, because if you have energy, if you feel better, you have more vitality in your life, right? You're going to be more engaged. You're going to be more focused. You're going to get more done. You're going to, it's such a huge thing. Everybody has felt when you don't feel that great, where you're not feeling healthy, what happens?
Yeah.
You don't get things done. You just don't feel like doing anything. So when you have energy, everything feels better.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is better.
Wouldn't you say that the energy is more like your cognitive energy, and that just makes everything better overall?
It's everything. It's physical energy. It's mental energy, right? Emotional energy. I mean, everything is kind of intertwined. Yeah. And you can't just be, it's really hard to be physically energized and you don't somehow have mental energy at the same time,
or vice
right?
versa.
Or vice versa. It's the way it is. So,
what about people that are wired and tired? I mean, that's a real thing. Some people are sleepy, but still kind of wired. And we've all had those times in our life when we kind of have that anxious energy, but your body.
I think you're dipping into the well and not replenishing it though.
For me, I was always for most of my life, right? Kind of the big enemy of sleep and just getting stuff done and burning candles at both ends and just going crazy. But hey, maybe, just maybe, my body said time for a rest and you got cancer.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I was really healthy as far as lifestyle wise.
Were you?
Eating, I didn't drink, I don't smoke, trained all the time.
Habits wise.
And I was super happy. But I was just grind, go, even though I loved what I did. But at some point, you're going to have to pay back.
Yeah.
And
you were taken from the well.
Yeah, big time.
Replenishing.
And this kind of leads into sort of the first big topic, I think, which has been a major shift in Greg's life. But it's the role of recovery and sleep when we're thinking about having energy versus generating energy. Talk about the role of sleep and how important it is for your mental, physical, and emotional energy and health.
Well, for me personally, it's been huge, because before I thought I was getting more done because I had more hours in the day.
Yeah.
Right? So I slept sometimes 3 hours a night, sometimes 4 hours a night. I mean, 5 hours was a super good night. And for me, after starting training at High Performance Academy, all of a sudden you're getting all this literature and you're hearing all these people speak, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to start to dig into this. But it took me literally about 3+ months to figure out how to sleep 7 hours a night, because I was hardwired to not do that. And psychologically, I had to battle it. Mm-hmm. So I started first chunking off, okay, I'm going to go to bed 30 minutes earlier. And then I added another 30 minutes. And that's what my process was initially. And I did a whole bunch of stuff because I was reading everything and listening to everything on it. So I blacked out my room. I took every single light source and I either covered it or took it out. No screen times, hour before I go to bed, any kind of screen at all, zero. And, you know, now I'm sleeping 7 hours, don't need any kind of alarm at all, and feel so much better, getting so much more done because my brain is totally focused and engaged, and it has, like we talk about, energy. You know, it's just kind of naturally there now because
You're
I'm
generating
sleeping.
it.
Yeah, you're generating more energy because of that good sleep and how I'm focusing on that part of my life.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that daylight savings times, when you lose an hour of sleep, there's a 20% increase in heart attacks. And when you gain an hour of sleep, there's a 20% decrease in heart attacks. And, you know, if our brain and our body didn't need sleep, we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And they, you know, people have tried and tried and tried to figure out ways around sleep, scientists, and they just haven't been able to do it. So I think in America, people are probably chronically undersleeping, and it's leading to a lot of, you know, mental health and physical health problems that they're not totally aware of.
Well, there's lack of sleep and then quality of sleep too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
for sure. And I think another thing too is think about the human being. Period. How long has we have we had to deal with lights and
Yeah,
screens? Our body has not been able, can't deal with it because it's
yeah,
before we went to bed when the sun went down, and we got up when the sun came up.
yeah.
Unless we were
I
some
can
kind of
remember going
craziness.
camping as a kid, and when the sun went down, there's nothing to do. There's no lights, you know. There's a campfire, but really, and I would just get tired and fall asleep.
Yeah.
And when the sun would come up, I'd wake up.
Yeah, and that was
Probably felt great.
yeah.
Well, I was a kid, so
Yeah, everything
it
felt
all the
great.
time.
But think about that. When we were kids, literally, we did not have any of this stuff. We didn't have screens. We didn't have video games. We didn't have,
Yeah.
you know, we had, what, channel 2, 4, 5, 9, 11, and sometimes 29. I mean, that was it. Now it's just like inundated with just
Screens.
constant bombard. Now they say
Yeah.
that kids are on screens 9 hours a day.
Yeah.
And adults are, on conservative estimates, 3 hours a day.
Mhm.
And, you know, but
Well, there's
lot
an
of them
app
say
on your
4.
phone now that if you
Yeah.
upgrade your, it'll tell
Yeah.
you how much it's. I'm
Most of the-
embarrassed to say.
no, for me, I have my specific times where I now set an alarm.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm at home and I'm going to take a little break and go on to YouTubes and everything else,
Mhm.
all of a sudden, beep, 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 beep. That's it. Shut it
Yeah.
down. Back to work. You know, or back to doing whatever, just so I don't get a habit of being stuck on those screens, because then you want to do it later at night again.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that, you know, when you're looking at those screens and you're thinking about what you're doing, your brain is continually just
Stimulated.
stimulated.
Most of the parents bringing their kids into the academy are bringing them to get them off a screen
Yeah.
and to get them
Yeah.
doing something. They
Yeah.
can't pull them off.
Exactly. So, what is the role of diet when it comes to generating energy? I know a lot of people. That's you know, fairly. The link between your diet and your energy, I think, is fairly clear. But a lot of people are just looking for great tastes, and they're just, you know, not, that doesn't necessarily translate into giving yourself energy. And when the athletes that I know have changed their diet for performance, they have way more energy. And their
How much
performance
energy
is
does it take
way
to
higher.
digest your food and the different types
A
of
lot.
food you're eating?
A lot.
Yeah.
I think big thing is here again. It's not just calories in, calories out, but how efficient are you with what you're eating, what you eat, and plus you got to think about your own body types and where you
Yeah.
are in your life.
There's a certain amount of trial and error there.
Yeah, and for me, it took a long time to find what worked and what felt good for me and what allows me to be sustained throughout the entire day. And I'm probably now 80% like almost vegan.
Mm-hmm.
And I eat meat still because I like it. And but I'll have like a steak once a week maybe, but chicken. But most of the days I'm plant-based.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You feel so much better.
Yeah, it's easier to digest. Plus my metabolism is slow.
Yeah, when you age, your metabolism
Yeah,
goes down.
so back in the day when you're just going nonstop and not sleeping, you know, your body's just constantly burning. And
Yeah.
so now slowing things down. But I eat a lot more, you know, greens, a lot more, you know, smoothie type things, a lot more focus on my diet when I'm eating. And that's even like before I go to bed, I try not to eat anything for at least 2+ hours before I go to bed.
Yeah, that's really key. I think one of the best pieces of diet advice I ever heard, I think it was Michael Pollan, and it was eat food in small portions, mostly plants. Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at a lot of the major diets that most nutritionists and scientists think are successful, that is in part of the diet.
The recipe.
Yeah. So let's talk about fitness and exercise, and staying committed to movement, right? Because another piece of advice that Greg recently took on had to do, I think, more with just movement, right?
Yeah, mobility and movement and having healthy joints, right? Because so much of my training in the past and development, all of us, has been really ballistic in nature. Pounding our joints into bags and pads and into each other and smashing and crashing and bashing. And because of what we did, I don't look back and regret it, because I'm like, that's who I was, all right? Develop those skills and do it. But right now, it's so much more about maintaining healthy joints and more joint mobility. And so I spend a lot of time in those type of activities like Carenza and shadow boxing, and even on more rolling now and grappling as opposed to pounding things. I did a lot of that for 30 years, So now it's like, hey, I can still hit with power and I still feel comfortable with it, but I don't feel I need to smash my joints into stuff anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people feel like they have to go 100%. And if they can't go 100%, then they're not going to do it. And so, like, when it comes to physical training, that mindset holds people back from doing the training. And what Tommy Hearns, it's not important that you do great every day. It's just important. Hagler. Okay. That you do it every day.
Yeah,
that quote has always kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, it's not that you do great every day, it's that you do every day. And it's such a big thing, because even right now, almost across all the major fight camps, they're not sparring as hard as they used to. When you go to professional football, they're doing way more training without pads and not smashing each other, because the longevity of your fight career, your brain does not get tougher through contact. It goes down. It's not like you're callousing your brain by getting punched more. It's the opposite.
Or your muscles. Like, if your muscles are constantly sore and broke down, you're missing that recovery piece.
Yeah.
Right? It's never, what's the quote? It's not overtraining, but there is such a thing as under-resting.
Yeah. I think it's, for the most people, it's definitely not overtraining. For most people. Because we've had some of the hardest working fighters around, like Sean Shirk and stuff, and he was go, 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 go. And he trained a lot. And I'd be like, maybe you could probably take a little bit of time off.
Yeah.
And, for sure, because of the way he trained, but he was really diligent with his diet. And but it took a toll on his body.
Yeah. I mean, at a lightweight, it's harder to fight into your 30s, too, I think, because there are physical changes that happen to your body when you age. But
speed matters.
Yeah.
But, I think the fact that as you age, the whole goal for me of martial arts is longevity. I want to be able to do this like Guru Dan.
Yeah.
He's teaching classes, from 4 until 9:30 at night.
How old is he now?
He's 83.
Before that, man, during the day, how many hours does he practice martial arts every
day? And then he has privates with the Machados, and he works with kickboxing guys, and he does some Kali guy that he finds, and he's working.
So it's training volume is more important than intensity at the end of the day.
Yeah, especially at that point, think about.
You have to have intensity at some point.
Yeah, at some
if you're
point.
going to compete or do it, you have to
think of his consistency
times. But
yes,
in the long run, it's tortoise and the hare, right? Like that old fable is really, really, really true. So.
Well, here this bottom line is, as well. If you're doing martial arts for self-defense, how often are you actually fighting in a self-defense situation? Unless your job depends on it, all right? Then that's a different story. But if you're just doing martial arts, then ultimately your goal is to become healthier more vibrant, more have more energy, just feel better, maintain better health, not be sore. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's about. And so, when you're looking at it, that's why I think it's so funny, the debate between, well, sport versus self-defense. Really, how much are you fighting? How much are you actually out there on the pavement beating the crap out of each other?
That are sport Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys or sport anything.
They're going to fight and win anyways.
They're tough.
Yeah.
They know how to problem solve on the fly, and they will do it.
Well, I just talked about that at the camp at the Peter Sowers. I said, listen, if you're a competitive, anything combat athlete, you're going to defend yourself, and you're going to beat the crap out of the most people.
Yeah.
But, on the other hand, if you're not, and you've never been pressure tested, and you're just thinking that your jiu-jitsu or whatever is going to help you, you're going to be in for a rude awakening when some street thug just starts pounding your head into the pavement. But how often is that going to happen?
Yeah, that fight or flight, dealing with that fight or flight response in competition is a lot closer to street fighting than rolling in the gym with your buddies.
It's the closest thing you're going to get.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the role of healthy relationships when it comes to having energy. I know that's a little bit less in the public mind's eye when it comes to having energy. But look, if you hang around people who are full of neurotic, negative self-talk and thoughts, how are you going to think, right? So I think it's really important to discuss, being around a group of people that have a positive mental attitude and positive mindset as it applies to your mental, physical, and emotional energy.
Yeah, but you have people that can suck all the energy right out of you.
Yeah.
And so my goal is I don't like to be around those people. I avoid them. I don't want to be around them. So,
none of us do in here.
Yeah, and we're pretty fortunate in the fact that we get to surround ourselves with people, for the most part, that are very positive, and they have goals, and they have a life, and they're doing well in that life.
And they're trying.
And they're trying.
Yeah.
And those people that aren't, either they figure it out because they're around a bunch of people that do, or they just kind of fade away. And I think that's part of I think it's really important for sure to have that healthy relationship with the people that are closest to you.
So one last little thing I wanted to, you've mentioned a bunch of this stuff to me, I don't know, and you did a post about it recently, but let's talk a little bit about your favorite life hacks. So one that I heard recently that I'm going to try is at night there are apps that will basically tell you a bedtime story and get you to sleep faster.
What?
Yeah.
For real. So that Calm, it's called Calm, and they have...
Calm.com?
Yeah, they have an app, and they have a sleep meditation, and you can just put on your headphones, and apparently it puts you right to sleep, according to Jonathan Haidt. So that's
I had that app.
Yeah. So does it work?
I didn't use the sleep app.
Okay.
I just used the mindfulness app.
Right.
It was great.
I think that
pro tip,
highly recommended.
put yourself to sleep.
Yeah, that's a huge one. For me, I have a very set routine at night, and instead of hurrying up and going to bed, I'm getting relaxed and getting slumbered down and then winding down, so that when I get in there, I'm more likely to fall asleep quicker. I also write down at night the things that I got done during the day, my achievements, my accomplishments that I did, things I did, so I'm not thinking about them when I go to bed. And then I write down another thing, how I want to feel in the next morning. I write down, I want to feel relaxed, I want to feel rejuvenated, I want to have energy. And so you kind of put your mind at ease when you go to bed. And as opposed to, what didn't I get done today? What do I got to do? Okay, I got to do this. And I even write down the things that I didn't do that I want to do, and I said, tomorrow I'm going to get this done. So I can go to bed and not have to think about it. Just gave it up right there.
Let's talk about gratitude, because we talked about that before.
And that's kind of with my achievements and my accomplishments.
Feeling gratitude.
Yeah, you feel, I'm thankful for this, I've done this, I had a great, I got this done, this done, this done. It was a great day.
Yeah.
I can go to bed.
Your brain has thousands of years of practice getting ready for threats.
Yep.
And it's it's going to really easily tune into threats
And negative thoughts.
and negative thoughts
Negative
and bad
thoughts.
things. And so it probably takes a bit of practice, because then we don't have to worry about saber-toothed tigers anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So you wake up in the middle of the night because in the past that was a good chance that you were going to get eaten. 100,000 years ago.
Realistically, that's your default.
Right.
Your default is that negative threat-based thing, and you have to switch that off. And gratitude is one of the ways that it switches it off.
Yeah, Dr. Amen, who's a big brain doctor, right? He talks about there's automatic negative thoughts.
Yeah.
They're automatic.
Yeah.
You have to work at creating positive energy and positive thoughts.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then
You will fall into a hole.
yeah.
That
He
is
calls
for
them, you
sure.
got to smash the ants, the
Yeah.
automatic negative thoughts.
And then the next step is you're going to get that 6-pack or bottle of wine,
Yep.
or you're doing something
Yep.
to scratch that part of your mind away.
That's for sure.
And,
Mindfulness is really important, I think.
yeah, definitely, for sure.
Ultimately, when you're thinking about, the life hacks too, I talk about the night routine, but I have a morning routine. I mean, I have a very specific
So
routine.
habits.
Habits. So,
Key.
you're not just running through with randomness and chaos, right? You're not leaving things up to that, but you wake up at the time, and this is what I do. I do 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's just kind of this methodical thing that I do, and it gets me planned and more productive to the day because I already know what I'm going to do that day, when I'm going to do it, how I'm going to do it, and I also factor in my schedule that there's going to be a good chance that something's going to get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Life goes on, right? It's not like you said. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
It's a marathon,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's such a
that,
huge thing.
That idea of your brain operating on habit loops is really, really important to understand, because if you brush your teeth in the morning, you don't think about that, you just do it. But if you are in the habit of thinking negative thoughts and complaining and being upset about whatever deadline or thing that you are stressed about, your brain is going to start following that habit pattern, and so breaking out of that can be really difficult. But once you get to the other side and you have a more, on average, positive mindset, your quality of life is going to be a lot better. You're going to have a lot more energy, for sure.
And a lot of things I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of taking time and actually looking back at what I kind of did naturally for so long, as far as my positive mindset, my optimism.
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of it was, first and foremost, I was doing things that I love to do with people that I love to be around.
Yeah.
And it was way easier to be pretty positive when you're around people that are in that same thought process.
That was probably programmed into you in high school sports, wouldn't you
Oh
say?
yeah, for sure. You're trying, and in college sports, when we had to look at sports psychologists and how we're going to perform at our best and deal with the tensions and the stresses that come with going to school, performance anxiety, all these things, and knowing that you just got to give certain things up and just say, okay, here's what I got to do. I can't determine what happened already. It's already done. Let it go.
Yep.
And I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I can prepare for it so I can put my mind at ease.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, good talk. So if you're listening and you like us, go ahead, leave us a review on iTunes and share the podcast with your friends and on social media on Facebook. And you can tweet at us at MMAA Combat Zone, or you can find us on Facebook, Minnesota Martial Arts Academy, or at Greg Nelson MMA, and we're also on Instagram as well. Anything else, guys?
That's it.
Hey, big thing is, you remember, you don't just have energy, you generate energy. You're responsible for that, so be proactive and do the hacks.
All right. Good job.